Have you ever heard the story of the Goose Girl? It's a tale of a beautiful princess, a wicked maid, and a talking horse that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Once upon a time, a lovely princess was sent by her queen mother to a faraway kingdom to marry a prince. For her journey, the queen gave her beautiful gowns, sparkling jewels, and a special cloth with 3 drops of her own blood, which would protect the princess. The princess set off with her loyal talking horse, Falada, and a lady-in-waiting, but as they travelled, the maid's true colours began to show. She was cruel and demanding, forcing the princess to fetch water from the river, not with her golden cup, but with her bare hands. The princess, gentle and kind, simply obeyed. As she bent over the water, the precious cloth with the 3 drops of blood slipped from her dress and floated away down the river. The moment the cloth was gone, the maid's wickedness exploded. She screamed at the princess, "Now you have no power over me. You will do as I say." She forced the terrified princess to swap clothes with her, making the princess wear her plain servant's dress. Then she made her ride the old nag while she climbed onto the magnificent Falada. The maid made the princess swear an oath never to reveal the truth to anyone at the royal court. If she broke the oath, she would be killed instantly. The princess, fearing for her life, had no choice but to agree. When they arrived at the palace, the prince and the old king came out to greet them. The maid, pretending to be the princess, was welcomed with open arms. No one suspected a thing. The old king looked at the real princess, standing quietly in her servant's clothes, and asked the fake princess who she was. The maid replied, "Oh, just a girl I brought along for company. Find some work for her to do." The old king, feeling a strange sense of pity for the quiet girl, decided she could help a young boy named Conrad herd the royal geese. And so the real princess became the Goose Girl. But the wicked maid feared the talking horse, Falada, might reveal her secret. She told the prince, "My horse was very troublesome on the journey. I want his head cut off." She claimed it was for her safety, and the prince, wanting to please his new bride, agreed. When the real princess heard that her beloved Falada was to be killed, she was heartbroken. She secretly found the executioner and begged him to do her one small favor. She asked him to nail Falada's head to the dark gateway of the city, the one she would have to pass through every morning and evening with her geese. The executioner, feeling sorry for her, agreed. The next morning, as the princess and Conrad drove the geese through the gateway, she looked up at the horse's head and said sadly, "Oh, Falada, Falada, there you hang." And the head replied, "Oh, princess, princess, there you go." If your mother knew, her heart would break in two. She spoke to her loyal friend every single day. Out in the meadow, as the princess sat watching the geese, she would undo her hair. It was like spun gold, shimmering and shining in the sunlight. Conrad, the goose boy, was amazed by its beauty and tried to grab a few strands. But the princess quickly chanted, "Blow, wind, blow, and Conrad's hat away you throw. Let him chase it here and there until I have braided all my hair." A strong gust of wind came and blew Conrad's hat far across the field. By the time he ran to get it and came back, the princess had already neatly braided her golden hair, and he couldn't touch it. This happened every day. Conrad became frustrated and angry. He went to the old king and declared, "I won't herd geese with that strange girl anymore. Every day, she talks to a horse's head on the wall, and it talks back. And when we're in the meadow, she lets down her golden hair, and then uses the wind to blow my hat away so I can't get near her." The king was intrigued. The next day, he hid near the dark gateway and heard the princess speak to Falada's head, and heard its reply. Then he followed them to the meadow and saw her beautiful golden hair shining in the sun, and watched as she commanded the wind to chase Conrad away. That evening, the king called the princess to him. "Why do you do these strange things?" he asked gently. But she replied, "I cannot tell you my sorrows. I swore an oath I cannot break, or I will lose my life." The king urged her, but she refused to speak. Finally, he said, "If you won't tell me, then tell your troubles to that iron stove over there," and he left the room, the princess, feeling desperate and alone. Crawled into the old iron stove and poured out her heart. She told the stove everything, how she was a princess, how the maid had betrayed her, stolen her identity, and had her beloved horse killed. But the king hadn't left. He was standing outside the stovepipe, listening to every word. When she was finished, he came back in. He had servants bring in royal gowns and jewels. The princess was washed and dressed, and she was transformed back into the stunning princess she truly was. That night, a grand feast was held. The princess sat on one side of the prince, and the wicked maid sat on the other. But no one recognized the beautiful stranger. After dinner, the old king told the entire court a story about a princess who was deceived by her maid. Then he turned to the fake princess and asked, "What punishment does such a wicked servant deserve?" The maid, not knowing the story was about her, declared, "She deserves nothing less than to be put in a barrel studded with sharp nails and dragged through the streets by 2 white horses until she is gone." "You are that person," the king said, "and you have pronounced your own doom, and so." The wicked maid was punished exactly as she had described. The prince, finally seeing the true, beautiful, and kind princess, fell deeply in love with her. They were married, and they ruled their kingdom together in peace and happiness for many, many years. What a story, right? It just goes to show that truth and goodness will always win in the end. If you loved this fairy tale, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing stories. Thanks for watching.